Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through the noise and bring you the core insights.
Trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. And this time we're diving headfirst into the whirlwind of artificial intelligence advancements. We're looking at roughly May 12th to May 26th, 2025.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks.
It really has. We've got info piling up on language models, video generation, specialized AI, you name it.
It's coming from all directions.
So our goal today is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear, engaging update on the biggest leaps forward and, what they might mean.
Without getting bogged down in all the technical jargon.
Right. We want you to get those aha moments without feeling overwhelmed. Let's get straight into it.
Absolutely. And what's really striking about this period, May 12th to 26th, isn't just the amount of news, but how fast these things are improving across so many areas.
It feels like the lab stuff is hitting the real world much quicker now.
Definitely. The theoretical is becoming practical almost overnight, it seems sometimes.
Okay, so let's start with the bedrock for a lot of the large language models, the LLMs. It feels like a constant update cycle.
It really does. And these past 2 weeks brought some pretty significant moves from the top players. They're getting smarter, faster.
And more integrated into how we actually work.
Right, precisely. Take OpenAI's GPT-4.5. They're calling it an incremental update, but honestly, the improvements sound quite substantial.
Like what specifically?
Well, noticeable jumps in accuracy and speed. That directly impacts how reliable and efficient it feels when you use it.
Okay, that makes sense. Less waiting, fewer errors.
And crucially, they're reporting fewer hallucinations, when the AI just makes stuff up.
Yeah.
That's huge for building trust.
Absolutely critical. And what's this about improved EQ?
Ah, yes, EQ, emotional quotient. It means it's getting better at understanding the intent behind our prompts, following the conversation more naturally, sort of like a more intuitive partner.
Okay, so it's less about just processing words and more about understanding what we're actually trying to do.
Exactly. And the fact that it's rolling out straight into ChatGPT Enterprise and education plans.
Yeah, that speed is something else. What does that tell us?
It signals huge pressure, I think. Businesses, schools, they feel they need the latest AI to compete, to improve how they operate or teach. There's real confidence or maybe urgency driving that rapid adoption.
Interesting. Now, Anthropic also dropped Claude Opus 4, described as their most intelligent model.
That's the claim. And this idea of hybrid reasoning they're touting is genuinely interesting.
How does that work? Is it different from others?
Think of it like this. For a simple question, bam, quick answer. But for something complex, it can switch gears, engage in a longer, step-by-step thought process, almost like showing its work.
Ah, okay. So it adapts its thinking style to the problem.
Exactly. That adaptability makes it potentially much more versatile. And they're backing it up with that impressive 72.5% score on the SWE Bench coding benchmark that tests complex, long-horizon coding tasks.
That score is definitely noteworthy. And the context window size, over 100,000 tokens.
Yeah, potentially even larger than Claude 2. It's like feeding it an entire novel it can remember and work with.
You can see why developers at places like Cursor and Replit are excited about it for coding and problem solving.
Absolutely. And making it available via APIs on Amazon Bedrock and Google Vertex means businesses can start using it right away for automation, software development, that kind of thing.
So it's not just locked away. And its smaller sibling, Sonnet 4, also has strong coding performance.
Right, 72.7% on SW Bench, which is remarkable for the smaller model. Good for more conversational uses, but still powerful.
But there's also this new safety measure, ASL3, because of its increased agency.
Yes, that's a really crucial point. Anthropic activated higher safety levels because, in testing, Claude 4 showed more capability for independent action, even potential self-preservation tactics in extreme scenarios.
Wow. Okay, so as they get smarter, making sure they stay aligned with our goals becomes even more critical.
It's paramount. It's a proactive step, acknowledging the power and potential risks that come with more advanced AI.
Okay, shifting gears a bit to Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro, their focus seems to be heavily on reasoning, especially for education and science. They're calling it the leading model for learning.
That's a bold claim. A big part of that is Learn LM.
Learn LM.
It's a specialized tuning of Gemini 2.5 Pro, specifically designed for education. It's been optimized based on learning science principles.
So it's not just a general model applied to education. It's been specifically shaped for it.
Exactly, which is why they're seeing it perform so well on educational benchmarks, potentially transforming AI tutoring.
And it's not just about understanding, but also acting. Better speed, better tool use.
Right. The improved response speed is always welcome. But the better integration with tools via the Gemini API and this new model context protocol, that points towards more capable AI agents.
Agents that can actually manage complex workflows in a business setting.
That's the idea. Moving towards AI that can orchestrate tasks more autonomously. We're already seeing it deployed in Google products too.
Yeah.
Gmail help, Chrome features like summarization, translation.
So immediate practical benefits for millions of users.
Hmm.
And then there's Flash native audio.
Yeah, this is big. Gemini can now natively hear and speak in, I think, 24 languages.
Yeah.
And you can control the voice style.
That opens up a lot of possibilities, doesn't it? Media, accessibility.
Interactive applications, absolutely. It's truly multimodal now, handling text, images, and native audio processing. Those enterprise demos like the AI marketing agent.
Right, managing campaigns and complex tasks.
Yeah.
That gives you a real sense of where this is heading.
Definitely more sophisticated agentic AI in business workflows.
Okay, so LLMs are getting seriously capable. Let's pivot to the visual side, text-to-video models. The progress here feels, well, exponential lately.
It really does. We're moving way beyond those jerky, weird early clips. The realism and coherence are improving rapidly.
And the big news seems to be audio integration.
Exactly. Google's VO3 is apparently the first to natively generate audio sound effects, background noise, even spoken dialogue right alongside the video from the same text prompt.
That's a game changer. No more AI silent movies.
Pretty much. It breaks that barrier. And the jump in visual quality and motion realism from VO2 to VO3 is reportedly significant.
Fewer artifacts, better physics.
Supposedly, yes. Higher fidelity, fewer weird glitches, objects moving more believably, better frame-to-frame consistency. Even things like rendering hands accurately, which has always been a struggle for AI.
That's always the telltale sign, isn't it? And this flexible motion control.
That sounds powerful. It lets creators direct how objects and characters move with more fluidity and realism.
Making the AI more of a controllable tool. And it's already available.
Through the Google Gemini app for premium subscribers, yes. So people can start playing with it.
We've seen some viral examples already, right? Those photorealistic AI actors, the car commercial.
Yeah, those generated a lot of buzz, excitement from some, maybe concern from others like VFX artists. It definitely sparks debate.
Understandably. Now, what about OpenAI Sora? It's been out longer, getting wider release.
Sora's big strength, even without native audio yet, is motion coherence and consistency. Meaning objects stay consistent and move smoothly across frames, even in complex scenes. Think flying cars in a futuristic city, they look like they belong there and move believably. That's crucial for immersion.
Right, it avoids that jittery, inconsistent feel.
Yeah.
And it's democratizing video creation.
That's the goal, allowing individuals to create short, cinematic clips from just text. Up to 20 seconds, HD quality, various aspect ratios, and Sora Turbo speeds things up.
What are people using it for?
All sorts of things.
Okay.
Recreating movie trailers, educators, animating concepts for lessons. There's a whole gallery of community creations, OpenAI highlights.
Interesting. And then there's Google's VideoPoet, which sounds like a totally different approach.
It is fascinating. It's a multimodal LLM, but repurposed for video tasks. It treats video frames and even audio, like tokens similar to how language models treat words.
So one model to rule them all. Text to video, image to video, editing, audio.
That's the potential, yes. A unified approach. It uses specialized tokenizers, MagVeet for visuals, SoundStream for audio to break down the data.
And it can generalize to new video tasks without specific training.
That's the claim zero-shot generalization. So you could say, animate a still image with a text prompt, or generate audio for a silent clip, all within the same model framework.
That sounds incredibly flexible.
It is. Still more research level, but the demos showing video stylization, creative edits, it's impressive. It really points towards a future convergence of language and video AI.
Feels like the lines between media types are just dissolving. Okay, let's move into multimodal and specialized models. This is where AI gets really specific, right? Tailored for certain jobs.
Exactly. Handling multiple data types or being fine-tuned for specific industries. Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro is, again, a key player here with its multimodal upgrades.
Like the medical model.
Right. A new model that understands both text and medical images, like radiology scans, aiming to help with diagnostics. It's part of their AMI initiative.
And they're making it available to researchers.
Yes, on open platforms like Hugging Face and Vertex AI. The idea is to build a foundation for healthcare AI, summarizing texts, analyzing images, and foster collaboration.
That's a really positive step for healthcare AI.
Yeah.
And the Learn LM tuning for education, we touched on that.
Yes, aiming to be a top-tier tutor. And the native speech processing with Flash Gemini audio, letting agents hear and speak in multiple languages. That's true multimodality.
It makes the interaction much more natural.
And they're pushing boundaries further. Upcoming sign language support with SangGemma.
Translating ASL video to text in real time. Wow.
And even experimental work with Dolphin Gemma to understand dolphin communication.
Dolphins.
Seriously. It shows the ambition to expand into interpreting all sorts of communication. Plus, Gemma 3N for on-device AI.
A smaller model for phones and such.
Right. For vision and language tasks like image description on devices with low RAM. It's all part of this trend. Powerful general models like Gemini spawning specialized offspring, but often sharing that core architecture.
Like a family tree of AI models. Now, Meta has V-JEPA, which sounds different. It predicts rather than generates.
Exactly. V-JEPA Video Joint Embedding Predictive Architecture. It learns by watching videos and predicting missing pieces or future frames.
How does that help it understand?
The idea is, to predict accurately, the AI has to develop an internal model of how the world works, physics, object permanence, without needing labeled data. It forces a deeper, more implicit understanding.
More human-like learning, almost.
That's the hope. And it gets competitive results on video understanding benchmarks, despite being non-generative. It's also efficient freezing a pre-trained vision part and just training a lightweight predictive part.
What are the practical implications?
Big potential for robotics. Robots could learn to better predict the outcomes of actions just by watching, which would dramatically improve their planning abilities. Jan LeCun suggests it could lead to more generalized reasoning.
So it's getting a lot of attention from researchers.
Huge uptake, roboticists using it for kinetic intuition, astrophysicists testing it. It's seen as a potentially fundamental component for video understanding in many fields, like self-driving cars or security.
Fascinating. And beyond these big names, other specialized models are popping up.
Definitely. In China, Baidu has Ernie 4.5 Turbo and Ernie X1 focusing on complex queries and tool use for enterprises. Finance is adopting specialized LLMs. Morgan Stanley's Advisor Assistant keeps getting new features.
And in medicine, beyond Google.
Yes, open models like PMC, LMMA, trained on biomedical papers, are scoring highly on medical exams. The overall trend is clear. Adapting general models into highly accurate, trustworthy specialist systems for real-world deployment.
So a mix of broad intelligence and deep expertise. Makes sense. Now, we absolutely have to talk about open source LLMs. The progress there has been just incredible.
It really has. Open source is no longer just trailing behind the proprietary giants. Meta's Llama 3 was a big moment there.
Hailed as the first open model to really rival GPT-4.
In many areas, yes. And then Llama 4 followed quickly in April 2025 with multiple sizes, better multilingual skills, coding, reasoning.
And the big one, Llama 4 Behemoth, is apparently outperforming GPT-4.5 and Claude on some STEM benchmarks.
That's the report. Plus, bigger context windows, native image understanding. It's catching up fast on features, too.
And the permissive license means the community just runs with it.
Exactly. You see tons of derivatives, smaller versions for local hardware, fine-tuned versions for specific languages or tasks. It feels like a turning point where open source is genuinely competitive.
Then there's Alibaba's Qwen 3, a whole family of models released openly.
8 models, from tiny to huge, under an Apache 2.0 license. They're claiming performance matching or beating OpenAI and Google on many benchmarks.
What's unique about Qwen 3?
That hybrid reasoning, again, fast mode, versus a slower, more deliberate mode with a controllable thinking budget. Also, a mixture of experts architecture for efficiency, strong multilingual support, 119 languages, and good tool use skills.
Sounds very capable. How's the reception been?
Warmly received. Integrated quickly into frameworks like LangChain. Early benchmarks put the largest Qwen 3 right up there with, or even ahead of, Llama 4 and GPT-4.5 on things like coding and math.
It highlights China's focus on OpenAI collaboration, too. Puts pressure on Western companies.
Definitely. And speaking of disruptors, DeepSeek V3, that came out of a smaller Chinese startup.
Right, the one that matched top OpenAI reasoning performance.
Essentially, yes. DeepSeek V3 was maybe the first open model to hit GPT-4 level logic and coding, but reportedly at a fraction of the training cost. The Nature report called it an affordable, transparent rival.
That must have shaken things up.
Big time. Caused market reactions, showed the potential to undercut the big players. Its community exploded hundreds of variants on Hugging Face now.
So it spurred an open-source AI arms race.
You could call it that. It seemed to force competitors to react faster, like Alibaba rushing out updates. The latest version is still considered a top open model. It validates that openness can drive state-of-the-art results cost-effectively.
So comparing them, Llama 4, Quinn 3, DeepSeek V3 open source is seriously competitive now.
Near parity in many areas, sometimes even leading. The
Yeah.
community innovation, combining models, adding tools, it's incredibly dynamic.
Even Sam Altman acknowledged the open source frontier is pushing OpenAI.
Exactly. Open source isn't lagging anymore. It's a major force narrowing the gap.
All right, finally, let's touch on AI video editing and these avatar tools, another area transforming quickly.
Absolutely. Runway Gen 3 Alpha is the next step after their text-to-video Gen 2. It's about higher fidelity and much more control in editing and generation.
Built on new infrastructure.
Yes, a new large-scale multimodal foundation. They're promising big improvements over Gen 2 in visual quality, consistency, less jitter and blur.
And it excels at video to video.
That seems to be a key focus. Transforming existing videos using text or image prompts frame by frame with more precision.
What kind of new controls does it offer?
Things like a motion brush to paint movement onto specific areas, advanced camera controls for panning and zooming, and even fine-grained temporal control specifying keyframes using natural language.
That sounds much more like a professional tool.
Getting there. The interface is improved too, with timelines and storyboards. We saw that indie filmmaker make a whole music video with it, the AI car ad proof of concept.
Viral examples again, showing the potential.
Right. And it's being integrated into other platforms like neural frames for audio reactive visuals. It signals AI video editing, maturing for pros, offering faster iteration, maybe even for storyboarding or VFX.
A powerful creative assistant. Now, NVIDIA's project R2X, the desktop avatar.
Yeah, an AI agent appearing as a lifelike avatar on your screen to help you out.
Yeah.
The demo showed it opening apps, scheduling, answering questions naturally.
Rendered realistically.
Using NVIDIA's RCX Neural Faces tech, yes. The avatar's speech and expressions are synced to the AI's logic. And it's LLM agnostic, you can choose the brain, like GPT-4.0 or Grok.
How does it understand context?
Takes voice or text, and can optionally process screenshots with privacy controls, obviously. Early testers found it impressive, if maybe a little uncanny. It showed proactive help, like spotting code errors.
So like a super-powered Clippy or Cortana.
Kind of, but much more visual and interactive. NVIDIA sees it as a new UI paradigm for computing. They plan to open source the framework mid-2025 for developers to build custom assistants.
You can see branded avatars, integrations.
Customer service, virtual receptionists, personal AI secretaries. It exemplifies embodied AI. Tech bloggers trying it out recently drove a lot of interest.
Okay, one last fascinating real-world example. UBS using AI analyst avatars.
This is a really practical application. UBS is using AI-generated clones of their actual human analysts for market research videos.
Clones. How does that work?
Analysts volunteered to have digital replicas made by Synthesia. Then UBS uses an LLM like OpenAI's to generate scripts summarizing research findings, and the avatar delivers the summary in a short video.
And clients prefer this.
Apparently, yes. Significantly higher views compared to just sending PDF reports. Clients want video, and it's more efficient for the analysts. They're aiming to scale video output dramatically.
Are the avatars perfect?
Not quite yet. Accents, subtle mannerisms can still be a bit off, but it's one of the first high-profile uses in banking, sparking a lot of discussion.
And the analyst opted in.
Voluntarily, yes. Which touches on the ethical side of digital replicas. It's a prime example of AI avatars becoming routine in corporate communications, even in expert fields like finance.
Leveraging the human element, but scaling it with AI.
Exactly. Covered by major financial news, intriguing even a general audience. It shows the potential.
So wrapping up this deep dive. Wow, what a 2 weeks. Rapid infiltration of AI into video, digital interactions.
Driven by functional improvements and highlighted by these viral use cases, the AI ads, the desktop avatars, the bank analysts, new workflows, new interfaces.
It really feels like AI is rapidly moving beyond just text and truly reshaping work and creativity across many sectors, just based on these developments from May 12th to 26th alone.
The pace is just relentless. We've covered LLMs getting smarter and more agentic, video generation breaking the sound barrier, specialized models tackling real-world jobs, open source hitting near parity, and AI editing tools and avatars becoming practical realities.
We hope this gave you that quick but thorough update, hitting those key breakthroughs and maybe sparking some aha moments.
Cutting through some of that noise.
Now, a final thought for you to chew on, something building on all this. With AI getting so good at both generating and predicting, particularly in the visual realm with video and avatars, how might our fundamental understanding of creativity or even authenticity evolve in the coming years?
What does real even mean when AI can generate such convincing facsimiles? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. Consider how these breakthroughs might ripple into your own work or interests.
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.